Well, when did you realize that making these movies was a mistake?
Oh, I think it was when I checked my bank account after. I forgot. Yeah, you put that in there.
I put that in as a joke, yeah.
Do you want me to actually respond to that?
No, it's not.
Hellfire Hades.
Not the man underneath.
He's real!
My name is William Clapp, and I'm the director, writer, editor, and overall creator of Hellfire Hades 2, 1980's Voodoo.
My name is Bethany Mann, and I am the lead cinematographer, stunt coordinator, voice actor, and I also played Mary Abstein in Hellfire Hades Attacks the 1980s, but I'm all the other things for Hellfire Hades 2, 1980's Voodoo.
I will say, Chris's guitar battle was pretty fun. That was a lot of fun. But I'll probably change my answer like tomorrow or like in an hour, because it could be so many things. For now, I'll say the climax with the voodoo doll with Freddy. It was just, it was so fun to like put together. And I'm so sorry, Jake, about all the fake blood I made you ingest. Was there a part 2 to that, or was that it?
Yeah, hardest.
Hardest. Lake shoot.
Fair.
It wasn't supposed to rain that night, but it did. Although I will say, it does look really good in the movie.
Yeah,
like
cool.
it happens right as Hellfire Hades shows up, so it's great.
You didn't have to get in the lake.
I did a bit.
Yeah, but you didn't have to.
Well, I did anyway.
Fun though.
That was Lake Day was definitely the hardest.
I loved coming up with the spells. I am not responsible for the fart spell. I want to make that very clear.
I would like to make it clear that I was.
But I did write most of the rest of the spells. I was especially proud of the final spell, the voodoo spell, because I wanted a very specific vibe for it. I wanted it to feel the same way the tension of the scene felt, where it's just like getting closer to you. And I really enjoyed writing the spells. I do write poetry and songs, so it felt a lot like that. Yeah, I didn't write any of the characters. Unfortunately, I did name some of them, specifically Penny Money's-Worth and...
I think Chris.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Penny Money's-Worth and Crescendo were both mine. And technically, I wrote the unofficial name for the groundskeeper, which is Doug Soil.
So good!
I have not confirmed that.
My favorite character to watch. I'm gonna do a hot take. My favorite character to watch is Stinkubus. I was very fortunate that Will allowed me to read a lot of the script before anyone else. And I originally fucking hated Stinkubus. I hated him so much, I actually begged Will on more than one occasion to write him out completely.
Yeah.
Hated Stinkubus. But after working with him directly, watching the filming, and then watching the actual film on screen of Stinkubus, I love him.
Gosh, see, it's a cliche thing where all the characters are like my babies. So like even someone as like socially creepy as like Mike, like I still love him. I would also say Stinkubus or Hellfire Hades, but if we're going Voodoo crew wise, I'd probably go Chris. He was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed working with Jeremiah and like the whole arc he had throughout.
Voodoo crew wise, my favorite to watch is I felt the most kinship with Freddy, but the one I liked watching the most was Penny. I'm sorry, but so sassy, so quick, just
Honorable
destroy
mention?
me.
Honorable mention, Jake playing Penny.
Yes!
Oh my
yes!
God, so good.
It was truly magical. Truly. It was actually a much bigger change than you would think, because while the jobs were very similar, the scope was very different. I had a lot more control over the narrative, and I had a lot more control over the creative direction, which was really, really nice. I can definitely see a lot of my own influence in the movie, where I couldn't so much in the first one. And then, of course, we filmed the first one for 3 weeks. We filmed the second one for 3 months. So that the commitment...
2.5. Who's counting?
I counted because I was also planning my wedding at the time, so I counted.
Yeah.
So it was a lot, but it was very worth it. It was very fun, and I do miss it, and I do very much look forward to being lead cinematographer in the future.
I guess we'll see.
Bruh.
You don't know anyone else who owns a camera.
I own a camera.
Not that camera.
I mean, you could say the whole movie, to be honest, was pretty impactful to see after a whole summer of working on it. But I'd say it's probably a two-way tie between the Eddie light transition reveal. I just remember the whole room like just uproar, just, oh shoot, it's him! It's either that or right before Mike Ghana's death, Mike and Morgana's body. The moment was, these are not my fingers, where you realize, oh, can't actually use that. And just like everyone, because I love a good oh shit moment where it's like, oh shit. And just like being able to pull it off and then seeing everyone just freak out over it, it was great.
The stunt coordination was a bit of a daunting task because I lied to Will and said that I had stunt coordination experience, and I did not at all. I watched stunts happen when I did musicals, but I never actually had any part of that at all. So I lied. I just wanted the job. So I just, instead of focusing on like trying to make really believable, cool stunts, I just focused on keeping the actors safe, making sure everybody in the room knew what was going to happen at any given time to help with the safety and the confidence, and tricking the camera angles as best I could so that it all looked as real as I could get it. And I didn't worry too much about the fine details because it's cheesy, it's campy, you know, it doesn't have to be action level, you know, fight scenes. It can just be a little silly. We hit him with a purse a lot.
That was fun. Honestly, watching a lot of 80s horror definitely helped. Not writing also helps. Just like letting the ideas kind of come to me, whether it's like, you know, like a shower thought or like just something to quick write down in my notes. And then eventually I have all these ideas and I'm like, okay, let's lay them out. I also kind of just like wrote out like a couple of timelines of like, okay, I want this death here, a fake out death here, but then they actually die here, that death there, they swap bodies, so it's technically their death there. Body swapping was that was a lot of writing.
It was insane to write.
Oh my gosh, it was
It was insane to read.
It was. Closest to what I envisioned. Jake was pretty close to Freddy, I'd say. I feel like he pretty much nailed it. I mean, everyone nailed it. Loved everyone. Such a great cast. I'll go with Jake for closest to the script. And then for surprise, see, it's between Ray and Lucas. But like Lucas is in an interesting position because he was casted as a character that's like nothing like him. And like, you know, I knew he could pull it off, but I wasn't sure how well, the creepy nerd. But like, unfortunately, he killed it every time. I'll go with Lucas as Mike for now in terms of surprise factor. But closest to what I envisioned, I'd go with Jake.
My expectations for the script weren't as airtight because I didn't write it. I didn't know the characters as intimately, but the character that I thought got the closest to what I first pictured was Penny, because like I said earlier, I came up with the name for Penny Money's-Worth, and when I did, I had a very specific idea in mind of what she would be like, and she nailed it. I just wanted her to be that bitch.
Oh yeah.
And she was.
100%.
Yes. The character that surprised me the most was probably actually Morgana. It was really hard for me to picture a very bubbly, energetic, talkative goth, because you never see that. You never see it. So it was hard for me just to figure out who Morgana was to begin with. I kind of just saw her as like a little bit of a weirdo. And I didn't have a lot more than that. So watching Cub turn her into like a fully fleshed character that had goals and interests and a personality and still maintained that original vision of a bubbly goth was amazing. I have a couple favorite shots. I really like the reveal of the voodoo doll, where you look at the other side and you're just like, oh shit.
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. Any of the tricky stunt shots were kind of hard to film. I wasn't actually filming during those. Will did a great job being cinematographer for those. But my favorite, and this is not just because it was my idea, but because I really loved it, was the lights in the Eddie Hellfire Hades transition, where it's just the circling of the lights and the way the music moves underneath the movement and just the laughing.
So good.
Horrifying. It very much feels like 80s horror. And we were like almost wrapped for the day. We were about to like pack it up and leave the woods, and I was like, wait, please, can we just film one thing for me? I just think it would be really cool. And so I'm standing there with the camera, and Will's holding a light, and he's just going crouched in the woods underneath the actors. Like I wanted that shot so bad, and it was great.
Like, there was just one scene, just straight up not even, like, filmed or recorded. It was going to be mainly audio, but it was going to be a news report at the end of, like, Southfield townspeople giving their thoughts as to what happened. And, like, they'd be very, like, stupid townspeople. Like, I don't think, like, Parks and Rec Pawnee. Like, I don't think he's real. I don't know. It's like, oh, I think he's very real. Like, oh, maybe. Who's to say? And just, like, a lot of dumb stuff. And then, like, Stinky Abyss was going to voice in, too. And, like, pretend to be a person. Like, I think Hellfire Hades is actually great. Any others? Stinky Abyss was supposed to have horns originally.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of glad it didn't work out because the adhesive we working, it just wasn't sticking.
Oh, yeah.
Or, like, if it did stick,
like,
with all the running around, it was definitely going to fall off.
He's uglier with just the ball, just nothing there.
And I think it complements Hellfire Hades, too.
Yeah.
1980's Voodoo. Freddy was going to be very different. He was going to be a metalhead. He was going to bring a gun to Hades Woods.
Oh, fuck yeah!
He was going to be, like, kind of hardcore and messed up after Eddie's death instead of...
Yeah.
And, yeah, like, he was just going to be, like, kind of emotional, like, a lot louder of a person. But then as the other characters started to, like, you know, take shape, started to form, I kind of realized Freddy would be better suit as, like, the straight man in this group of oddballs.
Ironic. This group of gays.
This group of gays.
Mary's too pure. Mary's too repressed. I think Mary would not have known what to do with Stinky Abyss. She was trying to recruit Hellfire Hades to Bible study and get him to repent. There's nothing she can do for Stinky Abyss.
Literally. Why do I feel like Stinky Abyss would go along for it for a second and just to kill her and her entire troop?
Could you imagine how funny Stinky Abyss and youth group would be?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think Mary. I think Mary is gullible and would absolutely believe Stinky Abyss's lies. I think if he roasted her, she'd never recover. And I do think if they were ever to meet, it would be kill on sight somehow.
Ooh, honestly, just love making movies. The first one was only meant to be, you know, just a college short film that I was making because I was frustrated that I didn't make anything during COVID when that was happening. And then I was like, you know what? Screw it. I just want to make something. And I decided campy 80s horror because I felt like even if I messed it up a little bit, might still add to the charm. Halfway through filming the first one, I think it was a scene with Eddie. I think the big reveal with him. I think I was just like standing there holding the camera and I was like, I would love to make a sequel. And like, it was like halfway during the first one, I started thinking of ideas and then, you know, who should we follow this time around? Because I actually wanted a main character, because the first one doesn't really have one. It's more group focused, but I thought, a lot of horror movies tend to follow the route of one of the previous victim's younger sibling, and then I thought who would be the most interesting to do that with, and then which I landed on Eddie, which I think made the most sense, and then thus Freddy, and then the plot from there. Honestly, just like anytime preparing an actor to die, I can't pick just one, there's too many, but just the direction beforehand is, okay, so you're about to die.
Fuck yeah!
Here's some fake blood. Here's
Let me
this.
baby bird it into your
that.
mouth.
Yeah.
That's pretty much.
Although Ray got lucky,
every
she
time.
never had to deal with the fake blood.
She did not get fucking lucky. She doused herself in green
She
cold
swallowed
water.
I
a
guess
fish.
that's a fair point.
I think my favorite set story is when we filmed the high scene. Unfortunately, not all of it made it into the final cut, but
Yeah, I did have to trim a bit of it.
that was very difficult, especially for me, because it was a one take, and I had to flip the camera between everybody, and just everybody's energy, where everybody was very nice to me, even though I kept fucking it up. So it was a very rough shoot, but just everybody encouraging each other, and especially me, to get the shot done. And the final cut, the full cut, which is released on Iron Wheel Productions, I think actually turned out very well.
What can you tell us about Hellfire Hades 3? If there is one planning to be made.
Well, let me start and then you can finish.
All right.
We did sneak peek the official title for Hellfire Hades 3, which is Hellfire Hades 3 1980's Killing Spree. That's probably set in stone. Past that, there's not a lot set in stone.
Except Freddy.
Knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
This one's obviously going to follow Freddy. He survived. And it's also going to follow his younger sister, Betty, who has yet to be fully introduced. And, of course, Hellfire Hades is going to make an appearance. And, of course, many, many people are going to die.
We are planning a third installment, Hellfire Hades 3, 1980's Killing Spree. As the name suggests, this one's going to be more of a genuine attempt at horror. Still plenty of campy elements. It's going to be... because there's so many things that are basically set in stone, but also not. So I'll just say it's going to be a much more thrilling, genuine attempt at horror. And stay tuned.
And that's it from Iron Will Productions.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.